Hello, hopefully this is not the reason you'd be watching this, but if this just happened to you, and you are getting this click or rapid clicking when you go to start it, indicating for some reason or another your battery is drained, well, I'm here to help. Well, in today's video, I'll be showing you how to jumpstart your car. In most cases, you will easily notice the battery with two battery cables on the top. The positive, which may have a red cover or red cable, while the negative will have the black cable. If you look closer, the battery, or the cover in this case, will also indicate this near the post, indicating the plus sign for the positive and the negative for the ground. But nowadays, not all vehicles are built the same. On these, you open the hood and are like, where the heck is my battery? Well, this car's battery, for example, has been moved to the trunk, but you don't have to jumpstart it from the trunk. This version will include how to jumpstart these as well. At this point, you'll want to get the jumper cables you'll be using. When looking at them, you'll notice you got a red and black clamp paired together. One pair of clamps will connect to one vehicle's battery, and the other pair will connect to the other. One thing to note is essentially the thicker the cable, the better it'll be at carrying electricity, and in turn, the better it'll be at jumpstarting the vehicle. The first thing you'll want to do is position your vehicle either in front of each other without touching, or next to each other like I'm doing here without touching. Now I laid down the jumper cables in front of the vehicles to make sure that they're going to reach and to have them ready for use. From this point on, you'll want to make sure that the red and black clamps remain separated from each other. Now to connect the jumper cables. The first clamp you'll want to grab is this red one, which will go on the dead battery. Red on dead first. When connecting these, you'll want to make sure you have a good clean metal to metal connection and avoid clamping it onto the plastic case. If you notice the terminal is dirty or corroded, you can wiggle the terminal and this will kind of scrape the terminal for a better contact. Now that we got the red clamp connected, we'll want to place this black clamp somewhere where it won't contact any metal, so when we connect the other cables it won't spark. So I place this on a plastic engine cover, or in this case, tucked into this area in front of the air filter housing, surrounded by plastic. Now for our good battery, in this case the truck's battery. We'll want to grab the other red clamp and connect this one to the red positive terminal on the good battery. Unfortunately, this red plastic keeps me from grabbing the whole terminal, but anywhere on this terminal will be good, including this nut that tightens the terminal. As you can see, we still get a good, clean, direct contact point to the battery terminal. Now for our third clamp that we'll be connecting. This one will go directly to the battery's ground terminal, which is the black cable terminal, or the post with that negative symbol on it. Again, we want to make sure we get a good, clean contact with our clamp and the terminal. Again, if you notice the terminal may have a layer of corrosion or is dirty, you may try wiggling the clamp for a better connection. Now for the last clamp, which is the one on the bad battery side. On this one, you'll want to avoid connecting it to the battery's ground terminal directly. Why? Because the moment you connect this directly, it completes the connection, and you may get a spark. And the bad battery may release gases, and you'll want to avoid sparking near these gases, so you want to find a better ground point. So what's a good ground point? Well, that one down there is good, but it's too close to the battery, so avoid that one. Well, you'll want to find a good, unpainted surface or bolt that's connected to the vehicle's frame or structure. And as we go around this car, this is probably the worst example I can find to locate a good ground point. All these bolts are painted or attached to plastic, and no good big bolt that's bolted to the inner structure. I think my best bet will be this bolt that's attaching this latch. It should make a decent ground point. Preferably what you're looking for is something like these bolts. They make good ground points, but it's far away from the battery, which the cable will reach if I spread them, but then again it's near a moving part, which you also want to avoid. But I guess I'll try out the one at the latch first. If that doesn't work, I'll stretch the cables out and go with the bolt furthest away from this belt. Here I'll show you a good example of contact points, so you can see what you're looking for. You want to find one connected directly metal to metal to the structure, like this nut here on the vehicle strut tower, or these bigger unpainted bolts bolted to the structure. Well, let's go ahead and connect this ground clamp to the bolt at the hood latch and see how it works. Again, you want to make sure that it's got a good direct contact on it. With all the clamps connected and everything ready, we'll want to go inside the vehicle that has a good battery and start it. That way the alternator can provide a little more juice and avoid draining your own battery in the process. On both of the vehicles, you'll also want to turn off any accessories that could put a drain on it. This way you get as much juice possible directed to the battery and the starter as you go to crank it. The more drained the other battery is, the more minutes you want to give it, but I give this one 2 minutes. And the 2 minutes worked out fine. It started right up. But now you'll want to leave this car on for about 10 to 20 minutes so it can charge the battery enough so you won't have to do this again the next time. But we can go ahead and disconnect the jumper cables at this point in the reverse order that we installed them. First, removing our ground clamp on our bad battery, making sure to place this where it won't touch metal, followed by the ground on the good battery, the red on the good battery, and finally the red on the bad battery. Now for vehicles that have the battery in the trunk or hidden away somewhere else like the Dodge Chryslers have, in front of the front driver's side wheel. For these you'll want to look for a post with a red cap on it. This will indicate a good positive terminal contact point where you can put a jumper clamp if you ever need it. And it should also have a good ground contact point nearby, which is labeled here on this one. So now to connect the jumper cables in the proper order. First the red clamp onto the red post, the red clamp onto the other vehicle's battery, followed by the negative clamp on the same battery. And finally the black clamp onto the ground terminal post. Start the vehicle with the good battery, turn off any accessories on both vehicles, and let it run for a few minutes. And now turn on the vehicle with the bad battery. And you'll want to leave it running for about 10 minutes or take a drive so it doesn't happen again the next time you go to start it. But you can go ahead and disconnect the clamps after it started in the reverse order. Black clamp from the post, black clamp from the battery, red clamp from the battery, and finally red clamp from the post. Well, I hope you were able to find this video helpful and informative. If so, please click that thumbs up button to support my video and my channel. And please subscribe if you haven't done so.